Hello, Black Healing Matters family. This is Danielle here with yet another episode of the Black Healing Matters podcast, where we offer you ideas to hopefully move you one step closer to your healing. Today is Friday. Happy Friday to you. I hope you're having a wonderful one, as am I. And today we are talking about finances because, of course, it's Finance Friday. Well, today I'm going to talk about, of course, finances, but in a little bit different way. Usually we talk about tips and strategies for Finance Friday. Last week, I believe we talked about saving and how to shift your mindset to become a multimillionaire, and how the multimillionaire mindset is different from the normal, everyday common person's mindset. Well, today I want to talk a little bit about why it is that we, Black people, historically, do not have that mindset. In fact, many of us have the mindset of being spenders and consumers versus savers and investors. And I started doing a little bit of research into why this is. And I thought it poignant to really bring this up and bring this to light, because there is a reason for everything. And there's definitely reason behind this behavior. And I found this information in the, let's see where it is. This is the Nation of Islam Research Group website. And it's an article entitled "Wasteful Black Spending Set in Motion by Slavery." That's the title of the article, published in January of 2016. And this article, in the caption, or rather in the picture, there's a picture of people lined up to buy Jordans, like outside in the cold, lined up to buy Jordans. And it breaks down the spending patterns of Black people and how much money and spending power that we have. And then it gets into something very interesting, which is what I want to highlight today. And that is the reason why we spend so much money without saving. And here it is. So I'm going to read a few excerpts from it. This first excerpt answers the question, how did Black people get to become the greatest consumers in American history? And the answer here, it says, the answer is in our experience in slavery, and then the sharecropping system that followed. When most Black people emerged from slavery, it frightened the hell out of white people. They knew that money and knowledge in Black hands meant that Blacks would have the power to determine their own destiny apart from white dominance and control. The first impulse Blacks had after slavery was to get as far away from white people as possible. They even set up 60 all-Black towns in which they managed free of white authority. This trend had to be stopped because with Black independence came the total loss of labor that whites had become so dependent on. So it explains in this article that it goes on to further explain how Jim Crow laws made it possible for basically black land, Black property to be confiscated at will, with no lawfully confiscated. And furthermore, I'll read this excerpt. I think it's important. Banks that were set up to encourage savings amongst ex-slaves, like the Freedmen's Bank or the Moses Bank, collected millions from Black depositors and then closed their doors, leaving Black depositors with nothing and no recourse. So can you imagine? And you are just a recently freed slave. You are a person who's never, ever had any experience earning capital. You've never had experience gaining, wealth or anything like that. In fact, you were the capital. Okay. So now all of a sudden this fine day comes and now you're free and you got to go to work and compete with the world in a capitalist system that you've never even had experience, taking part in before. And now these laws are made so that anybody who is white can come along and take anything they want from you, basically, with no recourse. Furthermore, any savings that you did have, if you were wise enough to figure out the game and realize that you have to save money in order to make it in a capitalist society, Those who did go ahead and save money and put it in the banks that were supposedly made for them, Freedmen's Bank, made by the Freedmen's Bureau of the United States, and the Moses Bank, closed their doors without notice, taking all of the money right along with them. So of course, if you had that experience, if everything you work for as a recently freed ex-slave was just disappeared, how would you feel? What would be your recourse? Obviously, the response to this oppression was that Black people became big spenders and fast spenders at that. So in the article it mentions here, they knew that if they could quickly turn their meager pay into some commodity, they had a better chance of seeing the value from their wages. They couldn't trust banks to hold it, and because of Jim Crow laws, the possession of money by Blacks was actually seen as evidence of criminality. All of that legal wickedness drove us to the overpriced country store merchants, mostly immigrant Jews, as soon as we received our pay on Friday. One Jewish man spoke the prevailing white sentiment when he maintained that Blacks, quote, needed money no more than turtles. And so, Black Healing Matters family, on this Finance Friday, I just wanted to shed some light on this and let you know that these sentiments are not unfounded. The fact that Black people are some of the least savers, right? Save the least in our nation. It's not unfounded. It's not random. There's reason behind it. But here we are now in 2018, 21st century Black Healing Matters family. We have to put an end to this. We ourselves must, the buck must stop at us. Okay? This is what our ancestors went through here in this country. This is what they had to be faced with. But we luckily do not have that same barrier. We have other barriers, don't get me wrong, but we don't have those barriers. So nowadays, it is our responsibility. Again, healing is our responsibility, Black Healing Matters family. And so if we're gonna make this happen, if we are going to turn the trajectory of our people around economically, then the buck must stop with us. Okay, the buck must stop with us so that our children and our children's children do not continue to repeat this cycle of having to start from zero every generation. Start saving your money, fam. Savings is the first key to wealth. I love you. Stay blessed. And as always, Black Healing Matters.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.